thank you so much for taking out time and coming here all the way to talk to us about our journey.
Of course.
Amen Clinics.
So I would say, first of all, thank you.
Of course. I appreciate
so
you.
much. I love to share. And I love this opportunity. So I really appreciate it. And so I would say, as far back as I can remember, I always, had a really hard time feeling settled. I always, very scattered, whether it was friendships, having a hard time, just in, personal relationships. I just had a hard time with life. Looking back, I was very much stuck in fight or flight from, a young age. My nervous system was very dysregulated. I had, some pretty significant traumatic experiences in my adolescence and into my young adult years, and then, sort of beyond. And so as time has gone on, I really felt hopeless in the end, which is why I originally, reached out to the Amen Clinic. About 2 years ago, I really had gotten to a point where I had convinced myself through the mental health struggles in my family that this was just the way my life was going to be. All of that anxiety and trauma had turned into very debilitating depression. And it was a cycle that I didn't see ever being able to break free from. My relationship with my children was struggling. And I had been through an extended period of time without my children, because I was so depressed and so sad. It was like I could only take them in 15-minute increments.
Wow,
right?
That's hard.
It was so hard. And like I said, not ever thinking I would be able to get to the other side of this. So that was the beginning of the most miraculous healing journey for me.
Wow.
And it's really crazy to look back on those years, because sitting here with you today is I'm a completely different person.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I'm awake. I'm alive. I'm organized in my thoughts and my reactions.
And you're painting.
And I'm painting.
You have painted amazing things.
I am painting. I've started my own business.
Wow.
I would say I'm thriving in every sense of the word.
So it sounds like 2 to 3 years of not being even slightly functional, just going with the motions of life.
Absolutely.
Finally got you to this point where you were. What had stopped you for asking for help?
I drank significantly.
Is that
to help numb?
I was going to ask you, did you use alcohol as a means to self-medicate and self-soothe? How long did that go on for?
Oh my goodness. I drank, I want to say starting in 7th grade.
Wow.
I started using alcohol as a pacifier.
So you struggle with depression, trauma for practically the majority of your life?
The majority of my life, yes. Which is so crazy to think about. How
does it feel like being on the other side now for the last 2.5 years?
It feels incredible. It feels like, it's why when, we discussed doing this, it feels so easy because I'm sitting on the other side of something that I want to share with everybody about the possibility.
So do you feel like the Amen Clinic incorporated the bio, psycho, social, and spiritual model
100%.
All in one to get you to where you are today?
Yes, absolutely.
So glad.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about how hard it was to start with these little tiny steps adapting a change, especially with alcohol?
So alcohol has been a journey.
I know.
You know, I mean, I got a DUI when I was 16. You know, I was hauled to, alcohol conferences when I was, 15. I mean, the writing was on the wall for me that I was already in this, I was numbing. Habits started forming. Blacking out started, fairly early. But alcohol was my bestie.
Right, because it rescued you when you needed him
it
the most.
Oh my gosh, talk about just buckle up with me. Just come on, we're going to go, in a social setting. Yeah. Perfect. Here you go. I'm going to have you and you're going to have me and we're going to,
have each other
and we're going to go, black out and comfort one another. And then,
that must be so hard to give up.
Loneliness there. The more I healed, and the more I went through the therapy that I went through with the amazing therapist.
So glad.
Who really helped me get to the bottom of my trauma, who allowed me in the safest place possible to fully process my trauma. And to really accept who my best friend was, and to accept the loneliness of life, of all of these things that were weighing me down. And slowly as I took off, it was like one layer at a time. Just, I was stripping myself of this shame and guilt and sadness and all these things that were clouding me. And my relationship with alcohol is forever changed because the relationship with my brain has changed.
And you've been sober for almost 2 years now.
Yes.
That is phenomenally fantastic. I love that.
I know.
I love it.
So, and it hasn't been perfect.
There's always ups and downs, but that's life. But now you have your tools.
Yes, I have all of my tools.
Right.
I would say my sobriety looks a lot different than I thought it ever would, in the sense that sobriety can be much larger than just alcohol. Sobriety is your relationships.
Just being present sometimes.
Yes.
Being available.
My art is part of my sobriety. My relationships with my friends and family and my husband and my children. I mean, golly, they have seen a woman just
transform.
I mean, I went from, literally 10 minutes a day I could spend with my children before, you can get angry and, because my body was just done.
All kinds of signals going through it.
Yes.
So it's better to just shut down and walk away than actually face the music. Yeah.
I look at my trauma and I think, I thought I can never get out of this. There's no way.
There's no way out.
I had a therapist, a therapist told me that when he was trying to explain to my husband how I have such gratitude for the small things, and I think it's because I had lived in that fight or flight for so long.
I know. That became part of your life.
It was a part of my life.
Exactly.
Right.
You didn't know things beyond that.
Right.
So tell me, how did you come about planning to get a SPECT scan?
I wanted someone to validate. I was very nervous about going down a road with a psychiatrist and them telling me I was manic depressive or
bipolar.
And I don't think there's a way to do this unless we can get a scan, you know? Yeah. I mean, so that part was easy for me. And I will say, I've always been open to anything that would bring me help. I've been through a lot of therapy, a lot of things that I was, reaching for help. So the The brain scan part for me, honestly, it was the best part. I think
I'm so glad.
It gave me the validation that I needed.
So what all did you get to find out from SPIC scan?
So, oh my goodness. Well, I learned about how extensive my PTSD was. Yeah, it was helpful to see. It was like battle wounds.
And when you're able to visualize
Yes.
and validate that these are those areas in my brain that have been on an overdrive or
Yes.
over fighting or either fighting,
Yes.
you know what to work on.
Yes.
And it's like, this is not me. It's not me alone. It's in my head. It's in my brain. It's my blood flow. It's several things.
Yes.
Which
yes.
is so assuring, and that really helps even 30%.
Yes. Yes. I mean, and the inflammation was
absolutely
astounding to me.
I know.
And the ADD.
Yes, and we discovered that because you didn't even know about it. And I'm like, great, now we knew you had PTSD.
Right.
That obviously rolled in the depression and the anxiety.
Yes.
But we uncovered a newer diagnosis.
Yes, a struggle that obviously
with all your life
had been, struggling with my whole life.
Exactly.
And, so we found out a lot of things, and it was really amazing. I really thought I was going to be bipolar or something, that I was worried that, a diagnosis that might feel scary.
And it's such a relief when you actually are able to put everything in pictures and words correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think the scan, it all started with the openness and willingness, and then walking in the door, getting over the fear of this is different, but it is so worth it. It has been life-changing. I mean, it changed the trajectory of my life. The SPEC scan, the Amen Clinic, I mean, it has been an incredible journey. And I can't believe I haven't cried because I really can't.
Yeah.
Every day is just, and it keeps getting better.
I love that.
I know. The healing keeps getting better, which is so sweet,
And it's phenomenal to hear all of the struggles from so long. It feels like if you were to look at your own story from the outside, it would feel like a movie.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like all these ups and downs, and then finally things are kind of stabilizing out.
I mean, I am all for it all day, because it can change the trajectory not only of your life, my life, but your children's lives. And that has been life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. On top of, but again, I resolved the trauma. I processed the trauma. I dealt with the depression that was from the trauma. I dealt with, all of the alcohol. I dealt with these things that it was a layer by layer. I mean, when I tell you it was brick by brick, it was brick by brick.
Literally.
Yes. It's not a miracle fix overnight.
There's always
it's a
challenges.
Decision.
Yes.
Right. It's a decision. But the SPEC scan and seeing that it's life-changing. And if you do what they tell you and you go by the plan and you trust the process, then I can't imagine how someone would not get to a point of acceptance of whatever their scan says. Embracing it, understanding it more fully, treating it, and moving forward from
just doing the right thing for yourself, your brain, and your body.
Yes.
Identifying it and then moving forward.
That's exactly right.
Yes. Well, Valerie, thank you so much. This is so important, and this means a lot to our whole team. You've been phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for doing this for us and all our listeners. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
Of course. Thank you, Dr. Kansara.
Of course.